Well, Nate, it's so great to have you on the podcast. We mentioned a little bit at the top here about this hilarious set I'd seen, and we talked about you're habitually heckled. The hecklers are coming for you. Do you have any other heckling stories?
Oh gosh, let me see. I have had heckling is just kind of like a ribbon that is folded in throughout my stand-up career.
That's beautiful imagery.
Thank you. If you listen to my album Best Guy So Far on a Special Thing Records, I kept every heckle that I received throughout the weekend on the album because I think it is important to give people the club experience. Yeah, and that was a big part of it. I have had things thrown at me.
Oh my God.
What is your comedy about? Oh my God.
It's mostly about my life and relationships and my view on I don't even really get all that political. I don't know.
You are a white nationalist. You didn't.
I am a white nationalist.
Jewish,
it's hard. Jewish white nationalist. It's and I get into a lot of wacky mix-ups with that. Let me tell you, that movie, The Believer, is not accurate. It's much funnier. Being a Jewish white nationalist, I have had. I guess it's more like the things that stick out to me because it's always just like people responding to jokes. But I've been heckled at Beauty Bar quite a few times. I used to run the Sunday show at Beauty Bar, the Sunday night comedy show there. And I was once heckled by a man and his mother were there together.
Saddest team ever.
And they both like would not stop. They would not stop heckling me to the point that other comics got involved. And they were off stage. And I remember one in particular, Jeff Wesselschmidt, really hilarious comic, was there. I finished my set and I got off stage, and these people, Beauty Bar is for the listeners who've never been there, it's a fairly small room in the back where they do the comedy. And so I'm like face to face with this guy, and he's like starting to like puff his chest up a little bit and like get in my face. Yeah, with his mom just over his shoulder. And so I am for the listeners at home, I stand around 5'6". I'm not an imposing figure. And so this guy was probably about 6 to 7 inches taller than me, and we were like, having words. I don't remember what I said. I'm sure I called him a piece of shit or something, something meaner than that. I'm sure from the stage, I told him that I hope he dies. I have said that on so many occasions.
Oh my God.
And I meant it every time. It's important that I never once felt afterwards that I shouldn't have said that. I was like, no, I hope that guy is dead.
I respect that.
And he like stood up from the chair and was like, do you want to take this outside? And then out of nowhere, Jeff Wesselschmidt, who is probably like 6'3", something like that, 6'3", 6'4", big, tall. It looks like Edward Monk's The Scream. That's what he looks like. And he popped up behind me, goes, "I can't wait to take this outside." And then there was like some shoving, and then they were kicked out of the bar. And then Jeff proceeded to get drunk and hit on the owner's wife so much that he was kicked out of the bar.
I like how you're saying that part of the story.
Yeah, no, it's important to have the epilogue. There were no heroes here. I guess one time that really sticks out is, and there was video of this somewhere. It was at an open mic in Michigan, but the open mics in Michigan and really anywhere else besides New York and LA are much different. Like open mics in other cities are like our shows here, are like the bar shows here.
Like respectful? Yeah,
they're like the comics are all doing, 8 minutes, something like that, like a show here, and there are paying customers, and so it feels like a show, even though it's happening on like a Tuesday, and it's nobody is really good enough to be doing a show. I was up, and I was kind of there, and there was another comic on the show who I didn't know, but he was on the open mic. He was going up later than me, and he started heckling me.
Oh
and
my God.
So this is like a heckle from within the community. A heckle hurled at me.
Hurts worse.
And I I lost it on him. I told him that he was obviously drunk. I was like, I hope you wrap your car around a tree on the way home. I hope everyone you've ever loved is disappointed in you forever. I hope every time your name comes up in conversation, it bums out your entire family. I said, I hope he Sonny Bono's his car into a tree, which isn't even the right reference because I was skis. But
I think it flies.
I think it was the imagery in it. I had did an act out about how he's like a cop who trips his partner while they're pursuing a perp. And then I tried to go back into material after that, and that was impossible. You can't. Right. I just told a guy I hope he dies for 5 minutes, and it was all because I was wearing a Michigan State shirt and he was a U of M fan. That was the whole.
Are you fucking
That was the
serious?
whole reason. That was the whole reason.
Oh my god!
It was it didn't have to do with anything I had said. I hadn't offended him in any way. It was just.
Oh, you went off and it was unprovoked.
Yeah, I was. No. He started heckling me because I was wearing a Michigan State shirt. He just started yelling shit from the back, and I lost it on him. The most, I will say, every story I've told so far, I at least come out a little bit on top. And there's one time in which
sounds pretty bad. I don't know.
Well, wait. When I saw you do something like this, I was howling. You kill when you do this. Isn't that true?
It's a weird thing. Really? This happens a lot, and I'm always very comfortable when it happens. And I would never encourage anyone to heckle.
Very comfortable.
But I when somebody is
telling people to die in creative ways.
That's our comfort zone.
It kind of is.
Hilarious.
Wow. It's a strange feeling. It's kind of like a relief in a way that it's I know that I'm about to release some pressure.
Right.
Kind of that there's tension in the room, and I'm about to pop this balloon.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one time it happened. It was my first time ever headlining a comedy club. It was Joey's Comedy Club in Livonia, rest in peace, no longer there. There was a table. It was a group of drunk women there for a birthday, and the birthday girl starts heckling, and that's always tough because it's her birthday. It's her special day. You only get one a year, So she starts heckling me, and then she starts heckling other people at her table.
Who were telling her to be quiet?
Who were calm down. She called one of them a dumb Mexican.
Oh,
she starts screaming, all sort of racial shit. And then so I'm going at her, and she just will not shut up. I'm doing all my best. I hope you die stuff. And she, it is not connecting. It's good at first, but you can only tell someone you hope they die for so long. Right. And then people start to be like, well, maybe he's the asshole. So, but I kept going. And eventually she was like, what are you going to do? Have me thrown out? I was like, yeah, we can have you thrown out. And so I signaled to the bouncer. This place has huge bouncers. So these guys walks over and goes down and kneels down to her and whispers something in her ear, and then gets up and looks at me and just shrugs and walks away.
What?
And it turns out she was a waitress at the club there on her day off.
Oh my god.
So first of all, going to your job on your day off, what the fuck is wrong
is
with you?
lame.
That's disgusting. That's gross.
Yeah.
But so it was because it was her 21st birthday, and she was just getting completely hammered at work. After the show, we walk downstairs, and she is getting berated by the manager of the club, who fired her that night. So
she didn't die, but that was close.
She got herself fired, but I definitely did not win that set. That set ended bad. I had to go at least another 20 minutes doing comedy to this person who I detested and was ruining the show, but she lost her job.
So
it's pretty good. I feel like it's a good second to her dying.
Yeah, I think it's up there.
Were you kind of bombing, or you were just barely getting through
it? Wasn't so much that I was bombing. It was just kind of like a tepid crowd. It was like a Wednesday night, and the feature, I didn't have any experience headlining clubs. This was my first one, and the feature did a ton of crowd work up front before me. He did 20 some minutes of just where are you from? What do you do? What is it? So it's they expected my act to be all that. Yeah. And it is hardly any of that unless you yell at me. in which case it becomes too much that.
And then it's like, here are all the creative ways I hope you die.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I hope, I think about death constantly. I think about all the ways I could kill myself constantly. It's on my mind all the time. I think about getting hit by a car. I think about shooting myself. I think about, I would never jump in front of a train, but I think about it sometimes,
Yeah, please don't.
But I would never do that. It's the most selfish way to kill yourself. I would never do that.
I would hate to fuck up everybody's commute.
So we got to wrap things up relatively soon here, but I just have a question on a comic level. So like when I feature or host for Lucas, who does, I would say, a good amount of crowd work, he'll say like, don't do too much. Are you kind of like that with your openers or your features? Like, don't go crazy with the crowd.
I guess it kind of depends. Like, I think a host, it's okay to do it because these people do want to be talked to.
Yeah.
I think when people complain about a host being kind of hacky or doing local stuff, I think that's misguided because I don't want to do that stuff. And I'd rather somebody who's going to be up there for 10 to 15 minutes do it, and then I don't have to do it. But if you're gonna have a half hour of crowd work,
right?
That's just like the crowd is going to become accustomed to that, and they're going to want that, and they're going to assume that's what it is. And so I think you should do some, but I don't think you should do the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Sense. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I try to not do it, but then my material is like very New Yorky and iffy. Like my coffee joke would just, it's a great joke. My mom loves it, but like to a crowd of people at a freaking brewery at 11 p.m. It's like,
you can't be doing a joke about like a bagel that takes the subway. Nobody's going to know exactly what the hell you're talking about.
Well, that was hilarious. I mean, I love, honestly, if I was going to a Nate Fridson show, I love your material.
Thank you.
But I would want I would say 50-50 to be frank with you. I'm sorry.
I need to go to your next show, and then if someone doesn't heckle you, I'm going to pay somebody to heckle you.
You're not going to go for it, Sarah?
No, I don't want to be eviscerated. I'm fragile.
I would say some really awful things. I've never descended into like slurs, thank goodness. I guess that means that's not in my heart. Because good. I have been so angry dealing with hecklers that I don't even remember what I said. Like I've been like rage blackout at what they. But I'm getting nicer about it. I think maybe I'm softening with old age. Or,
you're like, I just hope you take too many Xanax and then drink a bottle of wine.
I just hope
and stop breathing.
I hope your hospice nurse is negligent. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I'm like.
All right, it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show, listener submissions. AITA for yelling at a bunny murderer inside Circle K. Do you guys know Circle K?
Is it a gas station?
It is a gas station in Arizona and I think the Southwest. Okay. I don't know how far out.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it before.
Yeah, I know.
Michigan has Come and Go. Is that correct? Come and Go, or is that not Michigan?
You guys got Quick Trip?
I love QT.
It's amazing. Okay, great.
But then I found out about Wawa, and then I found out about Sheets.
Sheets, yeah. People are nuts about Sheets. People go nuts for Sheets.
But I don't know what it is.
Just good sandwiches at Sheets.
Good sandwiches, good prices, and kombucha. You know what I mean? They cover all the bases.
This episode is brought to you by Sheets.
All three Ks.
Oh boy.
I don't.
So today I was pulling into a Circle K, and as I'm going to turn in, I notice a little bunny on the side of the road. This is a common thing in Arizona. With what I guess, lots of little rabbits running around.
Just like roaming like squirrels?
Yeah, they're called cottontails. They got a little white tail. They're adorable. They're really cute rabbits.
Okay.
We don't even cover the situation 2 hours later. They're adorable. You don't want one as a pet. I'm going to turn. I notice a little bunny on the side of the road with what I guess are broken legs. I never really stop for things like this as I really freak out holding wild animals, but it just looks so innocent and sweet. I told myself I had to help the little fella out. So I pull into the parking lot and grab a towel out of my trunk to go and pick this helpless angel up. As I'm walking down the sidewalk to pick it up, I see a lady coming down the road, and she is right in line to take little Thumper out.
Oh,
I got really nervous and put my hands up in a stop, look out, WTF are you doing kind of way. Well, she has absolutely no idea because she is deeply involved in a text message. As I get within 10 feet of the bunny, she runs right over it with her front and back tires. This made my blood boil. The lady only noticed me after I threw my hands up on my head and screamed out, "No!"
how big is this bunny?
They're small. They're like...
That's what I'm saying. To roll over it with your front and back tires?
Oh, easily. I mean, they're the size of a squirrel.
Oh.
If, they're fluffy. I then proceed to walk back to my car in the parking lot and notice that she was going into the same Circle K. To add some color to this character, she doesn't park in a parking space, but instead pulls into the fire lane, puts her hazard lights on, and walks in for some Polar Pops. I don't know what a Polar Pop is. Are those like...
like those flavor ice things,
Yeah.
maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
In the process, leaving her toddler in the car. Wow, I really buried the lead there. Well, inside, she does not put her phone down. I go in and say, maybe if you put your fucking phone down for a minute, you'd notice the world around you and that you just completely ran over a rabbit turning in here. I'm assuming she had no idea because she looked completely shocked and backed away from me as if I was going to rob her.
Oh.
I felt like I kind of came at her out of nowhere, and I'm wondering if I am TA.
Well, I don't think it was the shock at killing the rabbit that made this woman look as though she was, shocked,
Right.
I guess, for lack of a better term. I think people are not expecting people to talk to them.
That's
Just
true.
in general.
So true.
I think it's just a stranger talking to just what is this? Another
Yeah.
human being?
Yeah, like when you go to Chick-fil-A and you're like, are you flirting with me or are you just... is this customer service? Like, why
Right.
are you talking to me and asking me about my day?
Oh, are the Chick-fil-A people
They're
nice?
so nice.
Yeah, 'cause
Which
it's like
is at
Southern
odds with their
God stuff.
company. Yeah, it's at odds with their
Because I've been
other
using the
company values.
I'm happy that you came out as a Chick-fil-A goer because I feel guilty, but they have the app now, and I
But
just
the sauce
order.
is so good. Whatever. Come for me over this. People will. It's fine.
I am not judging here. I am not judging at all. It's
Yeah.
I haven't been in some time, but it's more just
Don't go because you'll get it. You'll get it back. You get a taste for it.
Yeah, I haven't been in a minute though.
Anyway, rabbits.
Sorry.
Oh, God, I keep thinking about Chick-fil-A special
know.
sauce. Ah.
guys, the Popeye sandwich just came back. People are killing each other over
I
this.
saw that,
come on.
and then Ja Rule tweeted he was so mad about this, and then everyone was like, "But what about all the people in the Bahamas that you stole from?" And he was like, "No, this is not the same."
Oh my
Right.
God.
This is a sandwich.
He
This
was like,
is more
"How are we
important."
doing this? We're killing people over a sandwich. This is wrong." And everyone's like, "Ja Rule, you stole from a bunch of people." Anyway,
So, Kyrie E writes, YTA, but it sounds like you're more nuts than an
so
asshole.
obviously all the comments were NTA because here's my thing. I think this story is a bajillion% fake.
You do?
Oh yeah. Because, okay, this bunny, first of all, wouldn't this woman feel it if she ran over a bunny with her front and back tires? Also, he just keeps burying equally terrible leads. It's like, oh yeah, and she parked in the fire lane, and she left her toddler in the car. Oh yeah, and she's an anti-vaxxer. And by the way, it's just...
I don't know, but people in Arizona do stuff like this. I buy it. I was in a small town in Maine recently, and this guy parked his car in front of a wine store and left it running. Just left it. And I was like, really? And I asked him, I was like, you feel comfortable doing that? He's like, yeah, it's a small town.
When you got to drink and drive, you got to drink and
Got
drive,
to.
I guess.
Right?
Got to.
So I know it seems to us like the worst of the worst, but in AZ, it just kind of I
just feel
fire
the
lane
way this
part, you
person
mean?
keeps burying the leads makes me think something to this extent happened. But the lady in this car, and she's texting. She's
Yeah.
not. I don't think she's this much of a cartoon villain.
Well, also it's how observant is the OP here? I mean, how you can see all this,
Right. And her registration was out of
It's all
date.
coming at the it's happening at cars coming in at what 20 miles an hour, and
Right.
you can see that she's texting and the bunny. And this would involve a 3-camera shoot. You can't
That's
possibly.
true.
I think the thing that sticks out to me about this is what you said that was not in the post, but what you said about Arizona, that these things are everywhere.
Yeah.
So if these things are everywhere, they're essentially squirrels. Would anyone cry if a squirrel got run over?
No.
No. One time
No.
my dad sort of purposely ran over a squirrel because he was coming And then he stopped in the middle of the car, and my dad was like, "I'm sorry, but you got to move one way or the other." And he ran over the squirrel.
He didn't try honking or anything.
They
At
just
a squirrel?
They'll
No,
just
they
like
don't do
they'll
anything.
freeze. They'll just like look
he
at
just
you.
froze, and it was like, I can't stop. I think it was like the highway. Or I don't know what it was. Or a road that he couldn't stop on without getting rear-ended. I don't know.
What this person is really saying is that they value rabbit life more than other animals that are loose in whatever community.
I don't know.
You know?
Maybe if they saw another animal with his little broken legs.
Yeah.
He
Like,
would've-
if this was a possum, would she have a problem with this?
No,
Probably not.
Of course not.
You know,
Ew.
they're disgusting.
They're scary.
But bunnies are cute, so
They are. That's
You know.
it. I think you're right because like they're literally pests. Like because they take over.
If they're
golf
everywhere,
courses,
you know?
they're everywhere.
How do you
they're
know
like
this is
they're
in
like cats in
Arizona?
Israel. You know,
I
they're,
know this
they're
is
everywhere.
Fucking cats.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Israel has a cat problem.
Yeah, especially Jerusalem. Like they
Yeah.
have stray
That's
cats
so
like pigeons.
funny.
It's wild.
Can you
They're
kill
just
them? What are
everywhere.
the rules?
You can't catch them.
probably
And
should
they're
not
like-
touch them.
They're like running around on like ruins and shit. What are you gonna like?
The ruins?
Yeah.
You know, like what are you gonna like chase them?
That's
You're gonna
always what
chase
people
them into the
are like most surprised by in Israel is like the cats.
We're talking about like they're all over.
Yeah.
everywhere. Like
That's so fun.
like
I mean,
squirrels.
yeah,
They're
they
like,
really are
like
squirrels,
squirrels or
these
pigeons.
fucking stray
They're
cats.
everywhere.
and is there something there? Like why is it? Like do cats
I don't know.
are cats kosher? Like what's-
Cats are not kosher.
If cats were kosher, we'd be eating
yeah,
them.
if cats were kosher, there would be no cats in
Sorry,
Israel.
I meant are cats themselves kosher? Like they adhere to kosher. That's what I was trying
They
to say.
don't.
What? Do they have a kosher diet? Is
Yeah,
what you're
that's-
asking?
I was trying to
Well,
be
yeah,
funny
well, you
and
know,
it's going badly.
fish is parov, so
Yeah, so
they
it's
mostly
cool.
eat fish and milk.
Paro. Yeah,
so-
see, you know all these terms I've never
She knows
heard.
these
It
terms.
means it's like neither
she doesn't say
dairy
'em,
nor
though.
meat.
Neither dairy nor meat, so it
It's
doesn't
hard.
fit into
Yeah.
the kosher paradigm.
Well, it does. It means it's like a neutral.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it's
it's
good.
like a Uno
Yeah.
draw 4. You know, it's like it's a wild card. It
We
could go
can
either
teach
way.
you like an Uno Jewish education course.
I want to do birthright. So wait, the cats. Do you think it's just like the cats? They've let the cats get out of control. There's nothing
mean, yeah,
special
they're
about
not-
Maybe it's that
Israel.
No, I don't know what it
Egyptians worshipped them. I don't
Oh,
know. That
I
could
forgot
be.
about
That's
that.
not
Yeah.
far.
That was a while ago, but you know the
Yeah.
cats. They still have a good name.
I don't know. You know.
And Israel has the temperature roughly of California. Is that what it's like?
It depends.
Climate-wise?
Jerusalem's pretty cold. I feel like Jerusalem
really?
is kind of more like Atlanta in terms of the extremes. It can get
Yeah.
pretty cold and rainy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I know so much. Oh my God.
So yeah, I think it's not. I'm not sure there's an asshole here. I think the woman, if the person was actually texting and driving, that
Yeah,
makes you an
and
asshole.
left
You
her
shouldn't.
toddler in
the
You
car.
definitely shouldn't do that. But I think if rabbits are as prevalent in Arizona or the neighboring states as you say they are, then running over them is. I'm sorry, we did not. We did not lose. This is not a big
I'm
loss
not
here.
100% sure that they're common enough, but I'll say this: they're as cute as the ground squirrels, which basically look like tiny prairie dogs.
Oh my God. I love
And
prairie dogs.
people run over those on purpose because they're all over the
Right.
desert,
Cute.
and they're just as cute. So I think you're right. I think OP wanted to be a hero, and
Yes.
I mean he wasn't doing anything wrong, and like it does suck. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna say that this woman really was texting and driving because
Yeah.
I buy
Right.
it.
Right.
So that does have me actually going.
But think about if you're just
NTA.
like texting and driving, you're in your own world. Some random dude comes up to you and it's like, maybe put your fucking phone down. You're like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
I would be scared too.
I think they had a right to be scared and not be receptive. I think it was ineffective and
Yeah.
tactless what he did. He should have come up and say like, "Hey, just so you know, you just ran over a rabbit. I
Right.
noticed you were texting and driving, and you ran over a rabbit." I think if he had just said it flat with nothing behind it, she would have been like, "Oh my god!"
I don't think so. No,
No?
I think maybe I'm kind of abrasive when I talk to people, but when you point out if somebody did something wrong and you point out what they did, that
Yeah.
people get very defensive, I think.
So would there have been any way to bring this up in an effective manner?
I'm sure there is, but it eludes me at the moment.
Okay.
I can't think of a way. I'm like thinking of like every interaction I've ever had on the subway when somebody was being rude.
You just nope.
Like I yelled at a woman like just yesterday.
Oh my God. What happened?
Yes.
She was just forcing her. It was a crowded train, and people were getting off, and she was trying to force her way. She was trying to force her way onto the train, and I said, "Let them off first." And I just
that's fine.
And she turns to me and she goes, "You don't have to be rude about it." I go, "You're being rude." And then she saw how angry I was and didn't want to say anything more to me.
Honestly, you're the hero.
That's beautiful.
But I probably could have been nicer about that. I don't know that she learned a lesson is the
I
point.
don't even think you were like yelling at her, but you were probably just yelling in her general vicinity.
I was making eye contact.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
were?
yeah. No, I want to be there for the whole thing. I'm not trying to be like.
It doesn't seem like you have to yell.
I want to be there for the whole thing. I'm beginning to think the only time you're alive and comfortable is in like extreme conflict.
I just listen. I'm no sniper when it comes to this. I'm doing upfront, face to face. I want to. It's an exchange of ideas. That's what it is.
Wow. So are we going to be able to settle out on this, guys? Where are we?
I mean, the thing is, like, if this happened, this person is obviously not the asshole, but I'm like personally, like, just honestly annoyed at this very clear validation post that may or may not be real. So for that reason, I'm going to go AITA.
Yeah.
Not for the situation, but just for the way you went about this.
I gotta go. The woman who did the person who ran over the bunny, I believe, is the asshole because they were texting and driving and not being attentive to the road.
So you're saying not the asshole and the other person?
Yeah,
is
not the asshole.
that.
Yeah,
okay.
not the
I'm
asshole.
fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to come on board now?
I mean, yeah, I just want this person to
Hell
know,
yeah.
like, I see through your bullshit right now.
Yeah. Buy your story.
But as a person who's doling out street justice,
You could come on the subway with us, though. OP.
yeah, try it sometime.
All right, guys. Well, that's the episode. Nate, it's been so great having you.
This has been a delight. Thank you so much.
I'm happy you enjoyed it. You mentioned your album earlier. Is that on Apple Music, Spotify, all that stuff?
Yep, it's on all platforms: Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify. Although we're trying not to. I guess I shouldn't be promoting Amazon, of course, because that's
Right.
an evil company, and there should be no billionaires. But
unlike Apple, which is totally nice.
Yeah, Apple. Nothing bad's ever happened there.
What's the name of the album again?
The album is called Best Guy So Far, and it's on Special Thing Records.
And they will get some of your trademark yelling at the audience.
There are
God.
there are heckles on their heckles are included. They come free.
They come free.
Wow.
Free with your download.
Is there anywhere else people should follow you?
Yeah.
Twitter, etc.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Nate Fridson, NateFridson. And I post about shows and other just, brilliant ideas I have, insights.
You should post your heckles.
I should start to.
So good.
I don't want. That's the thing. Like I'm not trying to be like a comedian destroys heckler guy. That's really not my goal here. I'm
You gotta
really
run
not.
with it a little though.
I included for documentation and honesty in my art, but I'm really not. I think some of these guys are chumming the water a little bit.
Yeah.
I think certain comics, tip the scales. That's all I'm saying.
But I will
thumb
say
on the
this:
scale.
a lot of people do heckler takedowns.
Yeah.
The way I've seen you do it, you dive into a level that is unprecedented, and it becomes an art. So,
Oh wow, that's
I need to hear this.
Thank you. That's really nice of you. I don't.
I'm going to listen to the album just for the heckles.
yeah, I'm downloading it. I'm so excited. So, all right, guys. Well, that's an app. Check out all of Nate's stuff, and we will see you next Monday. Oh, and I'm sorry about the episode posting. I botched it. I don't even know if you know this, Sarah.
No, what happened?
Why are you telling her this?
I shouldn't, right?
No, you shouldn't.
I posted it and then I scheduled it, but I actually didn't schedule it. I scheduled an expiration date.
Oh, it
I don't know
disappeared?
why some people expire their podcasts, apparently. So then it disappeared,
weird.
and I was so confused because I had seen it go up and then it disappeared. So it was a whole nightmare. But anyway,
But it's back up.
I'm so sorry for anyone I put out. And this episode will be released and it will not expire.
Woo!
All right. See you next Monday morning.